Hi guys, how you doing? It's Amy here, Director of Newham Youth for Christ, bringing you this week's first video in our story of Joseph. Now all week we are going to be looking at Joseph's story. There's so much for us to take out of this story. Today's passage we are focusing on Genesis chapter 37, the start of the story. Let me set out what is going to go on. This week we are going to see a family devastated by jealousy and hatred. We're going to see a family that has to go on a journey towards reconciliation. But through the character of Joseph, we are going to see how God works his purposes out. That we might have to wait for results, but when we trust in God, we still see the way that he works all of his purposes out for good. I find Joseph an encouraging story for how do we respond in a world where bad things happen, where it doesn't just get better quickly, but instead might get worse before eventually good can come. Joseph has so much to teach us this week. So how does it start? Well, Joseph is Jacob's son, Jacob that we were looking at last week. Joseph is son number 11 of 12. Joseph, Jacob's favourite, makes it difficult for the rest of the brothers. See, Jacob just spoils him all the time. He buys Joseph the best clothes. He buys Joseph this multicoloured dream coat, as the song goes. The other brothers are jealous. They hate the fact their father loves this brother more. And you know what? Joseph's also pretty arrogant. He knows he's the favourite, but he also has the ability to hear from God through his dreams. Joseph has a dream that one day his brothers, his parents, will one day bow down before him, and Joseph can't wait to tell his family all about it. It just makes the hatred worse though. One day, Joseph's brothers are out looking after the sheep and they decide they're going to get rid of this dreamer. Let's get rid of our little brother, the one who thinks he's so much better than us. And so Joseph comes along, they jump him, they beat him up, they put him in a pit. They think about leaving him to die. Perhaps a wild animal will get him. But then their jealousy and their greed kicks in. They say, what benefit is it to us if Joseph dies? Let's sell him for money. Let's make profit off of this dreamer. And so they sell him to some traders that are going by. They sell their brother into slavery. They get rid of Joseph for now, but it just leads to misery. Their father Jacob is devastated. He mourns and he weeps the loss of his son. They tell their father that perhaps a wild animal has killed their brother. They bring back his coat, and with this story that almost all of the brothers have agreed upon. It's a broken family. Lies, favoritism, jealousy, hatred. What is there for us to wrestle with today? Perhaps you and your siblings joke and wrestle about who's the favourite. Perhaps you have been mistreated because another has been preferred. Maybe you are the favourite. We're going to see this week that families, as we already know, are complicated things. It can be tough to work things out together. Joseph has a special gift. He has dreams which he can interpret with messages from God. How does God speak to you? Does he speak in dreams? He speaks to all of us in his word. What might he reveal to us through this story? But there's also a challenge in the story of Joseph, not just about how do we hear from God, but also what do we do when we hear from God? Because Joseph might have been right, we'll see later in the week that perhaps what he was saying will come to pass, but it wasn't the right time or the right way to share the message God had given him. See, Joseph was arrogant in the word he received. He didn't take it as a future promise. He went and shared arrogantly with those around him. One day you will worship me. We've got to be careful with how we share the news that God has given us. It's not for our own benefit, it's for God's. So how do we point people to God and not to ourselves? Perhaps you're like the brothers. Maybe there's someone you're jealous of that you hate. How do we respond as Christians to that today? Who do we need to pray about our relationships with? Who do we need to take some time apart from in order that we wouldn't be wound up or frustrated by them, but then could come in time to grow together in a better relationship or friendship with them? Who do you identify with in this story? Are you one of the brothers? Are you Joseph? What might God want to show us this week about how we follow him, how we share of the message he gives us, how he might work even in desperate situations? The brothers sell Joseph into slavery, and off to Egypt he goes. Tomorrow we'll pick up the next part of the story. We'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye now.